All right. So we're back and we're going to try now and put some stuff together to make a like a shopping cart that lets you put things into your shopping cart. All right. Um, I'm a little worried, but let's see how we can do with this. All right, let's go ahead and we need to make some modifications to our page over here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to create um, a floating little box for our code, and this will work as our, for lack of a better word, this will work as our shopping cart. Floating list. Some text I found. I'm gonna change it to floating cart. And I'm going to put some example items in just so we can take a look at it. And then in order to make it actually float, we're going to have to do a style sheet. So I'm going to do let's get some code for that. Save that. Okay. So it's just going to float and you'll see. I'm going to go ahead and refresh. It, of course, did not float. So I really am happy about how that worked out. Why are you not floating? All right, let me just add some more style and see if I'm correct or not. I'm adding a bunch of style also for my, for the body and all that kind of stuff. We save it, we refresh it. Wow. That is not what I was expecting, copying and pasting from a style sheet. So we're going to not do that. All right, do you know what I did wrong? Remember how I changed it from floating list to floating cart? I then had to change that on my style sheet. There we go. Okay, so there's my example. We're going to make it blank in my list. All right. So there we go. So this is not JavaScript. This is just plain old everyday. Oh, what is this called? CSS. Not my forte, but that's what I was when you copy and paste. All right, so I have my cart. I have my items. One more thing I want to maybe add here in the body is in the product area. Before it, I might put a header. Great. Okay. Now, how can we make this be interactive? How can we have elements in here that will let us add things to the cart? Okay. So one way to do that is we can just probably do some type of like little HTML link that will call a function to put the object into the cart. So let's give that a shot. It's in our script. So what we're going to do is we are going to actually put, we're going to add a button. And we will call it constant add button equals document dot create element parentheses button. Okay. Okay, so create our element button. Now, of course, we want to make some changes to the button. So we learned all of this a couple weeks ago. Add button dot text content. This is gonna be the label equals add item. And then what we want to do is we want to somehow programmatically, or what we want to do is we want to move this into our upper right hand side So to do that, we might have to step out of our for loop for a second, and we might have to actually write a function to move that. Now, we're no longer in an object. Why are we no longer in an object? Because the object, it ends here. This is where the end of the object. So if we want to do a function that will do this for us, we can write our own function, or we can create a method within the class that will add it to the cart. I don't love that one. I'm really big on objects only existing in themselves and not really being able to do everything. So instead, I'm going to make it into a function. So function, we'll call it add to cart. And what will we do with add to cart? What will be the features? We will do function add to cart, and it'll be the name, and it will be, we'll call it product name so we know exactly what we're doing. Product name, and we will do product price, and we'll say well, we should have written this all out first because I already see something that I've done wrong, and that is our JavaScript needs to have we need to have a cart. We need to have a cart, basically. And the cart, we can make into a class. We can make it into an array. We're going to make it into a class for example. Class cart. And what are we going to do? We are going to do a constructor. And what are we going to put into our constructor? We can put a name if we really wanted to. I don't think we're not actually going to end up doing a lot. I'll show you what I mean. But we're going to just give it a name. And what we're going to do is create a method inside that adds something to the cart. So we would create a method called add to cart. And what do we want to do? And so this is going to make us undo some of the stuff we just did before. But what do we want to add to the cart? We want to add the product name and the product price. So as you can tell, I really should have written this out because I don't need this as a function. I'm going to make it into an object. I'm going to make it a method of the cart object. Okay, add to cart, product name, product price. So what happens? We need to store things in the cart. So what I'm going to do before the constructor is I'm actually going to create an array called const, and it's going to be called cart items equals bracket. Why are you yelling at me? Because it can't go there. So we just have to do cart items. There we go. Cart items equals bracket. So this is going to be our array. When we have our add to cart, what are we going to add to our cart? We're going to say cart this dot cart items dot push. And what are we going to push? We're going to push are we going to push? We're going to push the product as an object. Yep. And we'll say name, and it will be product name. And then we'll do a comma, and we'll do price. And we will write product price. That looks like it'll work. All right, so our new object, cart, it has a property called cart items, and it has a method called add to cart, and add to cart takes a name and a price, and it adds it as an object to the cart items. And it's not really an object, right? It's object notation, and it adds it to our array. Okay, so now that we have that, let's see if we can go ahead and test this out. So what I do want to do is, at the end of add to cart, I would like to console.log this.cart items so we can see it. All right, cool. All right. So now we're still here at this add button, and it's got its text content, and it can add an item. That's what it's going to say. So let's go ahead and just get the physical parts done, and then we'll finish stringing it together. So I'm going to do product div dot, I don't know what that is, sorry, add append child, the add button, and then I'm going to append the child of the product div to the whole screen. Okay, I'm going to leave a little space right here because this is where we're going to add our event for the button. So we're going to save some space for that. But let's just see what works right now, or did I blow everything up? Okay, so we have all of these buttons right here. Great, and nothing's in the my cart yet. Are you following? So just to reiterate, what I have done is I have a product class which gets instantiated into all of these products. I have a cart class, which I have not instantiated yet, or I haven't made a new cart. I have created these products, and I created an array of just all the different products, because that way I'm able to iterate through and print them out. Very common pattern for programming. Then I go through that array and print them out. Okay, and on each one I add the text, and I add a button for adding the item, and I have the div, and I create all that. So we have all of the physical parts created. Now we have to, quote unquote, string them together. So the first thing I need to do is to connect what happens in the cart with what happens on the buttons. So in order to have the ability to use add to cart, I actually need to instantiate the cart. So I would do constant my cart equals new what cart, and what's it looking for? The name. In our case, the name is going to be We'll call it main for no other reason. And we'll save that and we'll check it out. And there's no errors so far, which is great. So the next, what we need to do is I'm going to do some coding right here of adding items to the cart because I want to make sure that it works. So I can go my cart dot add to cart parentheses the product name, we'll call it demo product, comma, and then the price, which in our case will make it to be $2. All right, so we save that and we refresh, and I am not getting the console log. There's the console log. The cart currently has demo product and price. Okay, so we're getting somewhere. So now we need to basically make these buttons do that. The other thing we want to happen, actually, before we even do that, is we want to make sure that when we add something to the cart, we put it into this box up here. So how can we do that? If you said we can do some of this stuff with appending children, you are correct. We can do that. So let's see how to do that. But what I'm actually going to do, because in the interest of not destroying everyone's brains, is I am going to just do some HTML in the cart as opposed to this other way. So what I'm going to do within the cart is I'm going to have the display HTML, which currently equals, will start off equaling nothing. And what we will do at the end, after you've added to the cart, we are going to document.get element by ID. We're going to go to floating cart. Dot inner HTML equals its current inner HTML plus we're just going to do product name. And we can do that with the tick. And see where that gets us. I kind of want to do a list item. Okay. Let's save that. Let's see if it works. Demo product, because we put it in the cart. Perfect. Okay. Perfect, perfect. And if we wanted to do several of those, we could. Where could we do that? We could. Where did I put that text? Sorry. Oh, here we go. Demo product 2, and it's $4. Okay. So now let's test it. Demo product 2. Perfect. Look at that. So we have a cart with items. Now we're not adding them yet, but the last thing I want to do in the cart is I want to have a function called calculate total. I should probably have it as calculate total. It does not take any properties. And what I'm going to do, so I don't just type, is I'm going to go through the cart array and get and add together the price of all the items, okay? So let's go ahead and take care of that. And what we have is we'll do a for loop. For let I equal 0. I is less than this dot cart items dot length I plus plus. Okay, so for while we're in there, let's do this. God, I already did it. I have to create a total. Total equals 0. Let's call it cart total. Cart total equals 0. Now what I want to do is I want to say, okay, cart total equals cart total plus cart items I dot price. So it'll go through each one of these and find the price of each one. And then what we're going to do at the end is we're going to return cart total. So it'll give it back. I'm going to get rid of that console.log. And what I'll do at the end of the list is I will say when you add an item, it gives you the plus this addition. But I wanted to put the actual price in, so let's do that at the end. In my list of what I was going to do, this got much more complicated. Plus this dot calculate total. Much faster than I thought I was going to. All right. I see an error. Interesting. Oh, yeah, because it needs a bracket right here. All right, great. Let's give that a try. Well, that is not what I thought we were going to have, but let's end the video here and then go on and figure out how to fix it.